This is kind of a video editorial, kind of just giving some thoughts on recent events. You've all seen my review of the book Enoch, and you know that I believe Mike's story. I believe that Mike is having interactions with Sasquatches down in Florida, and nobody's going to change my mind about that. You know, I'm just not going to change my mind. And I know there are those out there who roll their eyes and they say, "Oh, this is crap. Oh, it's a fiction book. It's a fictional story." Well, how do you know? How do you know? Unless you actually read the book. Unless you actually talk to Autumn. See the conviction in her eyes as she talks about this story. This account, I should say. It's not a story, it's an account. Story almost insinuates that it's fictional. This is an account. You know, you gotta look at Autumn. You gotta look at it from Autumn's perspective. You have to look at it from her perspective. She's putting her professional career on the line as a Sasquatch researcher. Well, no, of course, she's not a researcher anymore. She's a witness advocate. You have to look at it from her perspective. The fact that she's putting her own credibility on the line, and she's also allowing an individual to put her credibility on the line by telling his story, telling his account. That being Mike. I think the story is plausible. I think it's very, very plausible. Is there proof for it? No. Mike attempted to get proof. He took photographs of the one he was interacting with. And the photographs were stolen by what he thought was a trusted friend. Then he attempted to videotape it, and the thing crushed his video camera and almost killed him. It almost killed him, attempting to block any possibility of getting the video proof. After that, he learned not to do that stuff anymore, not to point a camera at it, at any of them. Because that's not what they want. You gotta remember, just like what old Bub says, it's not about us, it's about them. Them being the Sasquatch, the big guys. The thing is, you know, there's all these people crying out for proof. We gotta have proof, proof, proof. I got news for you folks. We've had proof for 43 years. We've had the proof for 43 years. And you know where I'm going with this. We've had the proof for 43 years. And we still have the only living eyewitness to that event where the proof was obtained. You know what I'm talking about. The little happening that occurred in Bluff Creek on October 20th, 1967. We've had the proof for 43 years. It's just you got all these skeptics and all these naysayers and all these other people trying to cast doubt on it. Attempting to cast doubt on the Patterson-Gimlin film. Which, to me, it's a no-brainer. We've had the proof for 43 years. It's just that there are so many who want to, they want a body. There are so many who want a body or a piece of the body. I would not mind if a body part was found in the forest. I would not mind if someone smacked into one with a truck or something. And that's probably how it's going to happen. That's probably how your precious proof is going to come about. You know, somebody's going to hit one with a logging truck, or somebody's going to find a body part that they can't identify in the woods. There may be somebody out there right now who's got a body part they couldn't identify that they found in the woods. And they just haven't come forward with it. All I'm saying is that it's okay to disagree with Autumn. It's okay to disagree about the story of Mike and all this, and the story of Enoch, and say, oh, well, I don't believe in habituation situations and all that. Only one problem. This is not really what you would consider a habituation, because they didn't come to him. In other words, they didn't come to his house. That's generally what is considered habituation. That he went to them. He went out in their area. He went into the swamp, into their area, and interacted with them. You wouldn't really consider that a habituation situation, I don't think. As an interaction, yes, but it's not habituation. It's just interaction with a group of Sasquatch creatures, or I should say beings. I hate that word creature. Am I saying they're human? No. Am I saying they're ape? No. I don't think they're ape. I don't think we're dealing with a big dumb ape. If we were, we would have caught it by now. We would have had the proof by now if this was just a big dumb ape. I go along with Donna Kors, as I've said in previous review, that it's probably of the genus Homo, but not necessarily Homo sapien. But hey, you know, if there's Sasquatchers rather, Sasquatch researchers want to keep going out in the woods, chasing their tails, doing the same thing for the next 50 years, be my guest. Go right ahead. It's over for me. That's over for me. I think the PG film is the proof, and they're just people who don't want to acknowledge it, or they have their own hidden agenda for why they don't think it's the real deal. I don't think Bob Gimlin's lying. I've met Bob Gimlin 3 times. I've looked at the man. I've looked the man in the eye. He's not lying. I've looked the man in the eye. He is not lying. I've looked at him just like I'm looking at this camera right now. Just like I'm looking at you who are watching this. I've seen Bob Gimlin's conviction. I've seen the conviction in his eyes. I know the man's telling the truth. All I'm saying is that let's try and keep an air of a modicum of respect and decorum when we deal with this story. Let's tread very lightly, as far as let's not go out there and mock and make fun of Autumn and roll our eyes and say, oh, this is probably a work of fiction and all this stuff, and say that we're not going to be open-minded enough to actually read the book. I mean, you've got the choice. If you want to read the book, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Just keep being closed-minded. That's how I look at it. You want to be closed-minded? Be closed-minded. That's fine by me. You know, I was open-minded enough to read the book. And I'm open-minded enough to know that Mike's not telling a fabrication. If that makes me gullible in some people's eyes, well, so be it. I'm gullible. To those who are not open-minded enough to at least acknowledge that there's a possibility this could be true. But I'm going to respect those who have the differing opinions. Okay, I'm going to respect you even if you have a differing opinion than I do. I'll respect your opinion as long as you respect mine. And I hope that I'm not offending anybody by saying some of the stuff I've said, but I feel it's got to be said. I think we've got the proof of Sasquatch's existence. It's in that 43-year-old piece of footage. And the proof of those of us who've actually seen one, what we've seen with our own eyes, that's our proof. We may not be able to prove it to everybody else. We may not have photographic evidence. We may not have film evidence, video evidence, hair sample, fecal matter, a corpse. We may not have anything like that. But you can rest assured we've seen something and we know what it was. And we're not stupid. And we're not kooky. We're not goofy. We weren't taking our goofy pills that night or that day. We know what we saw. And that's what's most important to me. And I encourage all witnesses who are watching this to come forward. and report your sighting or your encounter. It's the least you can do.